Hello everyone, and thanks for stopping by to Scrap and Craft with Terry. Today we're going to make double envelope pockets, and we're going to do a fall theme. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you like my video, I just ask that you give me a thumbs up and check out my other ones. So I just started out with these two red envelopes. And let me see, you could do whatever size you wanted. And if you're going to put them into your journal, you just want to make for sure that it'll fit. These are, let me see, about 6 3/8 wide and about 4 3/8 long, wide and long. Okay. Now I don't want to cut the flaps off. We're going to put them together like this. And my idea was, because you have to join them somehow, you can use paper to join them together, or you can use washi tape, masking tape, anything. So this is what I did. So we'll set these aside. And all I did was used some of this washi tape. It has little rainbows and clouds on, because, you know, went with the background. So I just run a strip down the center, and then excuse me, this side was a little bit shorter because I didn't have it exactly even. So I just ran another strip down, and then you just want to make sure you burnish it down good. If your washi tape isn't new, you might want to glue it. And then I did the same thing on the back, and that just kind of helps to support it a little bit. So there's 2 strips on there also. And then they'll fold up. And then I just trimmed off the excess. So we're going to use these as pockets, and I don't want to have them covered. I want them open. So what I'm going to do is, that's what I'm going to do. On the flap part, let me see. This is my part that goes over here. This is going to be my front. So what I'm going to do is add a piece of my scrapbook paper on here. Now what I did was took one of the envelopes apart. This is my flap. And then on the inside, this part right here is this part. So this part right here, and then the back of my envelope. Okay, so this, I left this whole thing together because this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put my flap piece on here, because then I'm going to tuck this into my envelope and glue this into my envelope. So we'll just go ahead and do that now, except I want it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. So you can just decide, you know, what you want for your front and what you want for your other side. So hopefully I'm not confusing everybody. I just want to round this a little bit with my ink, just to touch up the edges if there's any white left. You don't have to do that. And I cut it just barely. I just drew my lines around each piece, and then I cut like on the inside just barely. So I wasn't going all the way out to the red, because if there's some of the red left showing, I like it when there's a little border. So you just don't want to go over your fold line. And let's pull this over this way a little bit. It's just kind of always, when you got glue on it, it's hard to line up. Is for me anyway. So there doesn't have to be a lot of the red showing. That's not what I'm shooting for. I'm just shooting for a little bit. Make sure it doesn't go over your fold. And I'm going to have more red on one side than the other side. And I'm okay with that, because it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I didn't ink my envelope. I figured I could ink as I went. And this part here is going to be inside of the envelope anyway. But I can ink this part here. And just ink this here. So we're going to see how this works. So now I just want to fold this down inside. And that's going to take care of my design there. Now this flower's pointing out, which maybe it should have been pointing the other way, but we're not even going to worry about that, because we're going to have tags and stuff in there. So we can go ahead and glue this in. Now, I figured instead of trying to glue the paper down inside of the envelope, because I always have a problem with that, I thought we would just add a little bit of paper to the flap, and I'm only going to put glue, I think, around the edges, because once it's in there, it'll be just fine. Come on, glue. So I don't really think that you have to worry about having a whole lot of glue on your flap. So we just want to get that inside. And I figured that is the easiest way to cover that up, because I didn't want my flap left on there. So that's an easy way of having an open finished pocket when you're doing an envelope. Worked well. I like that. Then I cut this part here. Make sure my washi tape is sticking down. And whatever you hook these together with, your paper is going to help cover it anyway. It's going to help hold it down if it does come up a little bit. So we're just going to glue this down. I used my Fabri-Tac for gluing the flap in, because Fabri-Tac gives you a little tiny bit more wiggle room than the art glitter glue. I've been listening to different videos saying that Bearly Arts glue will give you a little more wiggle room. I've never tried it, but maybe somewhere along the way I'll have to think about it and give that a whirl, see how that works. And somebody said that there's a little less water in the Bearly Arts than there is the art glitter glue, so maybe it wouldn't make your paper so wrinkled if you get a little too much on it. I'm going to have to turn this around so I can get this a little bit more even before my glue sets up. You got to make sure that you don't go over your fold down there. And hopefully I'm not going off camera, but I have to be able to see what I'm doing. And then we'll just use this to flatten it out a little bit. So see, we have these flowers going this way and that flower's coming out, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so that's the inside of that one. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other one. I'm going to put my flap on there first. So what is everyone working on? Are you guys working on something special? Are you enjoying the nice fall weather? I just have to make for sure that it doesn't go over my flap. That little part there is trying. So we'll just pull that down a little bit. That's better. And of course I'm getting some over here. I have a little less red showing over here, but it'll be tucked inside, so it'll be all right. And we'll go ahead and glue this in. So again, I'm just going to run it around my edges. Let me put my cap on this so I don't ooze it all over the place. And just pull my envelope open and tuck that right inside. So now my other one I had pulled up a little more to the top, but it's two different sides, so it doesn't matter. And you can put this in a pocket, or you can glue this in, or glue it. You can sew it into your journal. However you want to put this into your journal, or can go into a folio. It can be a little standalone. You can put pictures in the pocket. Okay, so down here I have a little tiny bit I seen showing. Right in there, I think. So I'll just try to trim that off a little bit without cutting my envelope open. There. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this down, same as I did before. I have a lot of envelopes, new envelopes, and I've been trying to think of different things to do with envelopes. Now let me turn this around so I can see what I'm doing here. Try to get it as even as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, that one went down easier. Okay, so that's the inside of our little envelope pocket or booklet or whatever you want to call it. Now on the front, I'm going to put, I have to make sure that I put the right ones on the right side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the papers on here, but before I do that, I want to put some ribbon on as a closure. Now I thought the yellow would go really good with the colors in the papers. So that's what I'm going to use, is the yellow ribbon, and it's lightweight, so it'll be easier to tie. Some of my ribbons are kind of stiff. So we're going to put this in first, so it'll be underneath our mat. And then I'm going to just bring this around so I can make sure that this one goes on even. There we go. Very good, very good. And then we'll be able to tie it shut. Now I just made it, I don't know what length it is. I didn't measure it. I just figured I would make a length of it, and if it needed to be trimmed, then I can trim it. Okay, so I'm going to put this one on this side. Now I can do this however I want, so I'll put the paper this way. And I think because I have a bigger area, I'll just use my Fabri-Tac. And then just make sure you don't go over your edge. If you do, just trim it a little bit. So it's going to go this way. I have more at the top than I have more at the top than I do at the bottom, but I can't say that I'm exactly real good at lining some of this stuff up. But what are you going to do? You're just going to go with the flow. That's what I say. So I'm going to put this one like this. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's handmade. So I'll just try to line these up so they're about the same. Okay, and there we have our ties. So that, I think that come out pretty nice. So we'll go ahead and decorate the inside. Then we'll do the outside. So I'm going to decorate this side first. I thought I would put, this was off of, Trying to see what the right side is. This was off of a really wide piece of lace, and I didn't need it that wide, so I cut it. This says spread kindness. And up here, the part that I cut off of it, I'm going to put on the top. And I'm going to put a butterfly. Now for my butterflies, I picked colors that was a little bit more bold so my butterflies would stand out. I tried fall color butterflies, and I tried fall color flowers, but they just kind of blended in with the background, and I didn't want it to blend in. I wanted it to kind of stand out. I'm going to trim this little corner right here so it doesn't get in the way of my pocket. And this end here looks a little shorter than this, but that's the way the scallop was. So oh, I went out a little farther. I don't want to glue my little booklet shut. And one thing nice about Fabri-Tac is you can wipe the glue off because it kind of balls up. And I can use my little eraser on it. Let me see, what did I do with it? There it is. So I can just kind of erase that a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to put this down here with little pumpkins. So I'm going to set it up just a little bit off of my lace because I want some of my lace to show. And these little cutouts here I used in, I don't know, 1 or 2 different projects. I think they're cute. And then up here on top, I want to glue this piece of lace with my butterfly over it. I figured if I added lace, it would just give it a little tiny bit of a background to lay on. I think I had that the wrong way. And then I'll have to trim this a little tiny bit so it doesn't go over the outside. And then we'll put our butterfly something like that, I think. I might have to go off and fill my Fabri-Tac bottle. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I don't like to fill it too full because then it gets oozy. And I don't like to waste it because it is kind of pricey. So we'll do something like that. And then we'll just hurry up and put our lid on it. Okay, and spread kindness. This was supposed to have more of an orange hue to the background, tannish orange, but my ink was running out, and so that's what I got. But it's still a pretty color. All right, so now we're going to do this one, and I'm just going to repeat the steps. Put these on this side. And live beautifully. And then we'll just glue this on. Turn it around so I can see if it's straight. Cool. So there's our pockets. Them parts are all finished. I think them turned out pretty cute. Now, on the front, I'm going to use the same kind of lace, only I'm going to do the bigger piece. I'm going to cut this off just a little straighter. It was gathered, so I just cut the top of it off. So we're going to glue this down here. Turn this around a little bit. Seeing how I just filled this bottle, I think I have to set it up between uses for a few times. Okay. Then I'm going to add this. And I'm going to just bring it up off of the lace a little bit so my lace shows on the bottom also. And I think this is pretty cute. Hopefully I can just get a little stream of glue out for around these little flowers and stuff. Then on top, I have this other lace. It's kind of, we'll say kind of, I think it's like an antique white. I'm thinking is what I'm going to call the color. It's very dainty. I don't know, I think I only have, after this project, I only have like just a little tiny piece of it left. It's one of them laces that I've had forever. And it's like the really dainty laces like they used to have. It's like you can't find them anymore. Everything is just, I don't know, it's just different. It's bulky. I like dainty. Just trim that little tiny piece right there. Then, hopefully that's halfway straight. Halfway. I'm going to put pumpkins. And I just hand printed this on. I didn't want to get my stamps out. And I'm not the best when it comes to stamping and trying to make the letters all be where they're supposed to. But I think that looks cute, kind of rustic. So the other side, we're going to do the same lace. Have to trim this a little straighter. And then I'll cut that end off after I get this glued on. Hopefully I'm up high enough. I'll turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. And then we'll trim this off. Now on this, we're going to have the little wheelbarrow with the pumpkins in it. So we're going to glue that on. And I painstakingly took the time to cut around the wheel spokes and all that stuff. And I think next time I would just ink between them all to cover up the white, because wow, that took a minute. And I don't do a real good job at fussy cutting anyway. I mean, I like the way you can see through there. I would really want to have to especially do that on the next project, otherwise it just might all stay white. But we would have to see then. So then I have another piece of that other lace. I'm going to put that on up here. Which one do I want to cut off of? Probably that one. Oh, I don't think that's straight. That's better. Now, if you wanted to make this into a little, just like a little, whoops, a little pocket journal, you could always just sew in a small signature. That would also be cute. And I think that would work well. I think of these different things as I'm going, but I don't have a signature made for it, so we're not doing that today. All right, now on this one, I just have chestnuts. And this paper is just like really, really lightweight. It's almost like it's a leftover from a bag. It could possibly be. So there's that one. And I think that's cute. All right, let's move this out of the way. And put some tags in. Let me close up my glue. And set that aside. Let me see. Let me just really, really fast run some ink around the outside. Just because I have ink in other places. And I think all of these colors go good on the red envelope background. Okay. So now these pockets are nice and big. We have just, this is a journaling page. And these are just all printables, free printables. Have this as a journaling page. You can write on the front and back both. I thought about inking these a little bit, but I guess I just forgot about it as fast as I thought of it. So we can just separate them a little bit. And then we have this fall. It almost has Halloween tones to it, but I thought it was really pretty. And I just did circles for the tab. So we're gonna slide that in there. You could also fold papers to put journal papers in there. There's still a bunch of room in that pocket. So then on this side, we have the same kind of journal papers. So we can slide that one in there. And you can journal on that. So we'll slide this one down here. Kind of separate them out a little bit so we can see. And then this one here, and I thought this one was really pretty too. And we'll just set that in there. So let's see if we can tie it. And we just have our little ribbon. You can put any kind of a closure on it that you want, and if you don't want a closure, you actually don't have to put one on it. You can use Velcro, or see, I'm not good at tying these bows when I'm on camera. Not at all. That's better. So there we go. That's our double envelope pockets. So it can just sit in your journal in a pocket, or like I say, you know, you could always just sew it in. If you sewed it in, you would just sew down your spine. but I think that's kind of pretty. It's a little bit more bulky, but I think it would work well. So let me know down in the comments what you think, and I hope you come back to see me for my next video. And until then, everyone, have a wonderful day and happy crafting. Bye for now.